What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Southern Draw, your new go-to sports podcast. We are on episode 8. Thank you for joining us. Don't be afraid to click that like button if you are watching on YouTube and to subscribe. And if you're listening on Spotify, please rate us 5 stars if you enjoy the content. I'm joined here today with my co-hosts Rod and Nick. How are we doing this weekend, fellas?
Doing good. Enjoying some nice summer weather here in New England. Pretty lazy weekend, just taking it easy. Um, Spending some time with the dog, going on some long walks, and just relaxing.
Yeah, same here. Weather is not quite as good here. It's finally getting hot in Texas. Not a fan of that. It's going to get even worse. It's horrible here in the summer, but the rest of the year it's great. It's just always hot.
It hasn't been like super hot here, but it's been chilling at like the high 80s. But it's just humid with like little sprinkles coming through, so it's just making it unbearable. Like last night, sitting at that soccer game, still hungover, just in the humidity. I wanted to just roll over and fall out of the stadium.
Yeah, I was gonna ask how the weather was for that game last night. It was pretty brutal. Is it sticky?
Yeah, it still would have sucked like if I wasn't hungover just because it was so humid, but it just made like I was like hugging a water bottle basically.
What'd you do Friday night to cause said hangover?
So one of our friends is like moving away and it's his last this was his last weekend here. So he wanted to go to Broadway, so we went to Broadway. The last Broadway trip for a while.
Downtown Nashville, I mean, Broadway is Broadway, like you got to do it, obviously, but not a huge fan.
Yeah,
No, I'd rather be at a small bar and just sip or a cocktail bar and just kind of chill.
yeah. I lived in Nashville. Y'all know this. I don't believe the hype about Broadway either. I mean, people talk about it like it's like comparable to like Bourbon Street in New Orleans. It does not come close. Like
No.
not even the same like league.
It's also just it was super packed, but I just remember like all the colleges let back out, so you got all those kids coming back. Summer's out, so you got kids coming in from other cities around and everything. So it's prime time, I guess, downtown season pretty much.
Yeah, I'm sure you couldn't even move down there. It gets
Yeah,
like
the
so
shoulder to shoulder shit, dude. Oh
It
my
gets
God.
old very fast.
yeah. Yeah, I didn't. I think I went to. I lived in Nashville for 2 years, and I think I went to Broadway like 3 times because I just couldn't stand it.
Yeah, that's probably like my fourth or fifth time overall, even before just moving here.
Yeah, you know how old this makes us sound when we're pitching
Yes.
about pack bars.
Hey, your Nick's coming to visit next weekend. We're gonna go out. The Stockyards in Fort Worth is so much. The Stockyard is awesome.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, nice little Southern draw trip to Texas, just for a nice, enjoyable weekend. No other reasons.
Yep. No other reasons.
No other reasons.
Y'all want to just hop into college sports? A lot going on this week.
Yep.
Okay, so earlier this week, the 2024 SEC schedule was revealed. A lot of hype surrounding this. I think we were all really excited about it. I really the reception's been pretty good. The SEC was catching a lot of heat for not moving to a 9-game conference schedule, but I mean,
I think the reason that is because all the people who are shitting on the SEC didn't realize the out of conference games that some of these schools have on top of still having the 8-game schedule. But I mean, I think it's 2024. Georgia plays more, even on an 8-game schedule, plays more Power 5 games than Ohio State does.
Just
yeah,
not surprising at all. The SEC scheduling is always crazy. I mean, just because just the strength of the conference. I mean, we've talked about this at length before, but it just doesn't compare. It just absolutely does not compare.
They're mad about the one game against like Samford when they start their season with like Louisiana Tech, Ohio, and Toledo or some shit like that.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But I guess we can run through. We're gonna run through each team real quick. I guess. We'll just do alphabetical. I feel like that's the easiest way to do it. So Alabama, it got Auburn, Georgia, at LSU, Missouri, at Oklahoma, South Carolina, at Tennessee, at Vanderbilt. So honestly, I think that's harder than what Alabama usually plays.
It is. The hosting Georgia is cool. Obviously, they have kind of like the top dog rivalry the past few years. So I'm glad to see them play somewhere else besides Atlanta. It'll be nice to see actually having a home crowd, even though Bryant-Denny is a bad atmosphere, despite what anyone will tell you in the media.
Terrible.
They're all liars. Though they've been there once for like Bama shows up for like one game a year, and it's either the Iron Bowl or whatever the one team they end up playing that's somewhat ranked out of the West,
Yeah.
and that's about it.
I
But
think
I would say this is fine, or I would consider them a loser for 2024 in this situation just because of the advancement and schedule. But I mean, getting Auburn and Georgia both at home, obviously Auburn would be at home because they're playing here this year, but LSU and Oklahoma and Tennessee are all tough away games.
Really tough. Yeah.
I really like the South Carolina matchup. I think depending on how this year goes, I know we're all pretty high on South Carolina. If South Carolina's good and keeps building like they are in 2024, that could be a really interesting matchup to watch. I just think about Steven Garcia taking down Alabama, and when I think about Alabama, South Carolina.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd love to see another version of
It's a
that.
Rattler super senior year. Goes in.
That would be so embarrassing to lose to Spencer Rattler.
Like a 26-year-old Spencer Rattler.
Yeah. Jeez.
I hate
Okay.
for that
Yeah.
to happen.
Yeah. I mean, those road games are brutal. I think we were saying they also play Wisconsin. So I mean,
I think it's in Madison too, so that's another road game.
yes, all four of those stadiums are hard to play at. So that's going to be definitely a brutal away schedule before. But like you said, they are fortunate to have Georgia and Auburn at home. I'm sure I know Georgia fans are upset because in 2020 they had to play in Tuscaloosa, so they're probably pretty upset that it's not in Athens because
Well,
it hasn't been in Athens since 2015.
we had to play at South Carolina back-to-back years anyways.
But that's how it goes. That's where people want to see it played. So yeah.
Literally.
Okay. Arkansas. So they're playing at Auburn, LSU, Ole Miss, at Mississippi State, at Missouri, Tennessee, Texas, and then they obviously every year
That'll
they
be neutral for the
in
A&M.
Dallas. Yeah. So
I think they're out of every team, they're the biggest winner in the conference. Them or A&M because they don't have Georgia or Bama, and they get Tennessee and Texas at home in the schedule, and A&M's neutral site. So their hardest games are all at home or neutral, and depending on if we rise to the occasion. And then you get LSU at home too.
it's a very favorable schedule for them. I mean,
It's still gonna be hard.
Yeah.
it's
There's
hard.
no
But like,
thing as an easy schedule anymore now. That's just kind of how it is with this many teams.
and that's good though. I mean, that was definitely the point of how they did it. But yeah, it's a hard schedule, but they've got their hardest games at home, like you said. So if I'm an Arkansas fan, I'm happy with that because you get a bunch of entertaining games and it's not as bad as it could be.
Yeah, on first glance at the schedule, it kind of seems like the most like unchanged compared to other schools with this new format. Especially maybe that's just because I have the memory of them playing Texas at home. What was that, 2 years ago?
Yeah.
So it seems like a traditional unchanged SEC schedule. A lot of good home games. I mean, God, they destroyed Texas 2 years ago. So I mean, Texas will probably be looking for revenge, but 2024 Texas has so many things going on that that Arkansas game is probably an afterthought for them. But favorable schedule. Who knows what Arkansas is going to look like in 2 years? But
hard to tell. I should have mentioned this at the start, but I think it's every team plays either Oklahoma or Texas. So you're going to see that a lot throughout these schedules. But yeah, Arkansas definitely should be happy. Okay, Auburn at Alabama. Obviously, you weren't going to lose the Iron Bowl. Arkansas at Georgia, at Kentucky, at Missouri, Oklahoma, Texas A&M, Vanderbilt. What do y'all think? Personally, I love it.
It's like Arkansas is I mean, not as favorable, obviously, because we have Bama and Georgia, but it's about as best as it could have been, especially with, I mean, there's no divisions now, but the teams we would have drawn from the supposed East compared to having to play LSU or maybe Ole Miss. Very favorable.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be weird. No Mississippi schools and no LSU. I mean, we have watched them we've watched these matchups our whole lives. So
Yeah,
it's
literally.
going to definitely be weird not playing any of those schools. Usually you like to think that the Mississippi schools are 2 wins if your team is good.
Right.
So that's going to hurt. But, at Mizzou is a very winnable game. Vanderbilt's always great to play, and hosting Oklahoma at home is going to be really cool. Just a cool matchup. And you mentioned every team playing Texas or Oklahoma. I think it's going to be some really cool environments that come up from these schools coming in, because a lot of the home teams hosting them are going to be like, we got to show them what the SEC is like. We've got to beat their ass.
Yeah, their away games the first year is good. Every school's gonna go all out for that game against said school. It's gonna, especially for Oklahoma, because they got the brutal end of the stick.
Yeah. Yeah. Personally, yeah. My only complaint is, I mean, I love playing LSU every year. There's such a like weird voodoo around that matchup. There's always something weird that happens in that game. So I don't like not playing them, but I like being able to play Kentucky, Missouri, and Vanderbilt. It's just a lot. Auburn, it's like even with playing at Alabama and Georgia, it's like Auburn's easiest schedule in like 20 years. It's crazy. And I love the Oklahoma matchup. I'm already looking ahead to 2025 because I'm assuming Auburn will play at Texas in 2025, which will be really cool. But yeah, if you're an Auburn fan, I don't see how you're not like super super overjoyed with this first year of the new conference alignment. Okay, so next we've got Florida. So they've got Georgia. It says it's in Jacksonville, but the Jaguars announced stadium renovations pretty recently, so I don't know.
It'll probably be at that NASCAR thing or whatever.
Yeah, either there. I mean, Kirby Smart's been begging Florida to let him do it on the campuses, so
I think a few times back in the day. I think it was for some renovations in Jacksonville too at that time. So
I think it's trending that way anyway, just because both those teams want to have a big recruiting weekend because they lose that with a neutral site. But they've got that game. Kentucky, LSU, at Mississippi State, Ole Miss, at Tennessee, at Texas, Texas A&M. This is brutal, in my opinion.
I agree. I agree. The Ole Miss matchup is cool. When I think about Florida Ole Miss, I think about Will Grier. Yep. When number 3 Ole Miss went to the swamp and just got eviscerated. It's cool. I think that's a cool matchup. Obviously, at Tennessee is a traditional matchup. At Texas, Florida at Texas is cool.
That's the most like something you never thought I would say. Florida actually going to Texas.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, if you're a Florida fan with the current state of the program, you're probably a little nervous, but I mean it's 2 years from now, so you never know. But yeah, it's a tough draw. You're probably wishing you got, another one of the like more poorly performing schools like Mizzou or Vandy, but I mean, hey, entertaining games at least.
Yeah, I mean, if Florida doesn't pan out too hot, which I don't think people are expecting them to this year, and they go into next year on top of this with the out of conference, it could be Sunbelt Billy could be gone, and Florida could be on an awful trajectory at the start of the new era of college football.
Yeah.
I like Sunbelt Billy is a funny nickname.
Sunbelt Billy's great.
Yeah. Okay. So Florida's biggest rival, Georgia, is next. And so they are at Alabama, Auburn, Florida, obviously, at Kentucky, Mississippi State, at Ole Miss, Tennessee, at Texas. And for once in their history, Georgia has a difficult schedule, which it's about damn time. But what do y'all think?
I mean, ecstatic.
Was that Matt?
I'm ecstatic with this schedule.
Yeah, it's tough. It's definitely tougher than their traditional schedules, but still you got to just realize it's Georgia and at their current trajectory, I don't see really any schedule being a problem for them. At Alabama is obviously, a marquee matchup. That game is going to be talked about for like weeks and weeks and weeks in advance. God,
You know what they should do? They should do what we used to have to do and make Georgia play Auburn and Alabama within the same either 2 weeks or 3 week span.
Yeah. You know, it'll be interesting for that at Texas matchup. That's huge. I mean, depending on what happens with Quinn Ewers, the amount of hype if Arch Manning's the starter against Georgia, who he picked Texas over Georgia. I think obviously Alabama was there too, but potentially seeing Arch Manning play against Georgia in Texas is going to be very crazy. I think Arch Manning sucks, but we'll go with the narrative, But yeah, and at Ole Miss, the last time they played at Ole Miss, they got destroyed in 2016. So there was some kind of stat where they're very poor on the road against teams with a certain winning percentage. So we'll see how it pans out here in the near future. But
Yeah,
it's hard.
they do have Clemson too.
Oh yeah,
But the only thing that sucks is like Nick said, obviously this schedule is brutal for a lot of teams and it's brutal for Georgia, but shit, with the 12-team playoff, Georgia could go 9-3 and they'll slot them in at like an 8 or 9 seed
oh yeah,
and
that's
make
true.
the national championship or the final four.
Yeah, yeah, they can lose 3 or 4 games and still probably.
Just a heads up, you playoff expansion people, all your Cinderellas are going to be powerhouse programs.
Okay. Kentucky is next. So they have Auburn at Florida, Georgia at Ole Miss, South Carolina at Tennessee, at Texas.
This is one of my favorites of all the teams.
Kentucky is in hell in 2020.
Mark Stoops has 1 foot out the door if shit goes downhill this year, and this is how it looks going forward. They are in a very bad spot if they've already had their glory days with him going forward in the SEC, because it's not going to get any better than this.
Yeah, this isn't pretty. The road games are brutal. You have no gimmies. I mean, you got Vanderbilt, so you got one gimme, but you'd rather have them on the road and take one of these tougher games at home. Kentucky at Texas feels like a fever dream game. That's going to be a very weird one to watch. I just can't visualize Kentucky playing in Austin. It just doesn't seem right. It seems like it should be illegal. This is tough. Mark Stoops is in hell. You're right. I mean, this could get ugly very quickly.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And if Louisville comes back too, or gets at least somewhat relevant, add that onto this schedule. It's not gonna be fun.
Yeah, I'd be pissed if I was Kentucky fans. They're definitely on the losing end of the realignment. Okay. Next, we have LSU. So they have Alabama at Arkansas, at Florida, Oklahoma, Ole Miss, at South Carolina, at Texas A&M, and then Vanderbilt. It's a little bit of a mix. I mean, it's hard and you got some easier games.
It's tough, but it's a win because they also didn't pull Georgia, which is huge for them. But if they keep building on what they're building on, I would say this is a decent schedule to get.
This is probably one of the more favorable draws, I think. Oklahoma at home is going to be a cool matchup, seeing Oklahoma and Baton Rouge. Your road games aren't bad at all.
Yeah. There's not much difference for them, to be honest. They're not playing Mississippi State or Auburn.
It's really just the South Carolina and Vandy thrown in there.
Yeah, and then Oklahoma, obviously.
Yeah. But Florida's probably going to suck, so it's not like, I mean, the environment will be crazy for probably 10 minutes, and then they'll run away with it.
Yeah, I'd be happy if you're LSU, you're like, oh, it's like you're playing a out of conference game against Oklahoma,
Yeah, exactly.
But the caveat here is they also have UCLA and USC on the schedule.
Yeah, I didn't even know that. When they showed that on the release day, I was like, what the hell are they doing?
I did not know that either.
Yeah, that complicates it.
One's home and one's away. I can't remember which is which.
I mean, you don't really have to be afraid of UCLA, just being honest.
No. Yeah. I mean, and they're still going to be decent, but they could be bumpy for like a year or two after losing some of their best players they've had under Chip Kelly.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just when you throw those in there, you're like, oh, this is a hard schedule. But then you look
Yeah,
at
they
it
could have
without
messed
those.
up.
Yeah. If you just look at the SEC schedule, you're like, well, they could compete for well, I guess there's no West. They could compete
Yeah.
for top 2 spot, you know. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see that year. It's going to be they've kind of got a gauntlet, but it's winnable. They have a lot of winnable games. Okay, Ole Miss at Arkansas, at Florida, Georgia, Kentucky, at LSU, Mississippi State, Oklahoma, South Carolina. It's not. I mean, other than drawing Georgia and at LSU, it's not that bad.
I think it's tough. I just adding the Arkansas is a decent environment for whenever they play Ole Miss. It's always a pretty good game, so I think that's a tough draw for them. But I think this is fine. But Ole Miss is also one of those schools that it could get tough for moving forward. As long as Lane Kiffin's there, I think they'll be fine. But if they lose him with everything in the SEC going forward, it could be rough. But for this year, I would say or next year. I mean, it's a pretty decent draw for them.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'd be happy. You've got some cool games, like we talked about already. At Florida, that's going to be great. Love that matchup. And then I like that they're still playing LSU. It feels like Ole Miss and LSU should play every year. So I like
Yeah.
that.
It's hard to like for me personally to like gauge the Mississippi schools and kind of put them in context to the rest of the conference.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, your road games aren't too bad. I don't think this is a bad schedule at all. Obviously, you get Georgia at home, which is it's good. I mean, Ole Miss seats about like 40,000 people in Vaught Hemingway, so it's not like it's a terrifying environment,
Poverty Stadium.
except they
But
do pump
with
noise in, so
how Georgia travels, it'll probably be 35,000. So
yeah. Um, at LSU is a classic matchup. Glad they're keeping that. Obviously, they're going to keep state. Oklahoma at home is cool. At South Carolina is pretty tricky though.
yeah, yeah, that is a tricky game. That feels like one that Lane
That's
Kiffin.
a lane drop right there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're definitely losing that game.
Yeah. But yeah, not too bad. I mean, it's not terrible. Okay, Mississippi State. They have Arkansas, Florida, at Georgia. They have Missouri, at Ole Miss, at Tennessee, at Texas, and Texas A&M.
I think
They're fucked.
this is the biggest loser in the conference
Yeah, I
for
think
everything. Well, besides, I guess Vandy is just because they're Vandy, but I mean, it's just kind of like they exist, but they don't exist. But Mississippi State you're screwed. Like, go
those road
forward.
games
You're
are
never making an SEC
absurd.
title.
No,
They
that
have
like,
no chance.
that's unreal to have to go to Tennessee, to Texas, to Georgia.
In Georgia,
Golly, that's tough. Yeah, I would be pissed if I was
I
Mississippi
wonder who
State.
they're at conferences for 2024. Let's see.
God, it's crazy too because this year, you kind of are like riding the kind of structure that Leach put in there, but
Yeah.
the 2024 will be like all Arnett, and that can go one of two ways. I think we kind of all are aligned in the way we think it will
They'll fall
go.
back to normal Mississippi State. I mean, they've had their best coaches ever, like with Mullen and Leach, like back to back. It's a little blip on the radar for them.
And you probably lose Will Rogers after this year. So
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
new quarterback into
They
2020.
also play at Arizona State in 2024.
Oh,
And if
that's a
Dillingham
weird
is
one.
The
working,
fighting Kenny Dillinghams.
Yeah.
if he gets decent over there, I mean that's not a easy game.
No, not at all. Because I think Dillingham's a good coach. He'll get Arizona State to be where they're respectable at least. So yeah, it's tough for Mississippi State.
Yeah. If you're a state fan, just buckle up because it's not looking pretty for you in 2024. And it's like what we
Or
talked
beyond.
about with all these teams coming in. Like, there's got to be like there's big dogs and there's little dogs, man. And some teams are just going to get pushed to the side.
Yeah. Yep.
They'll have to accept being bottom feeders, but also for some schools, like I was thinking, like I guess for Ole Miss or something, you got to think. Let's say they go 7-5 or 8-4 with some of those schedules. You'd have to think that's not a normal like what 8-4 used to be. What it isn't going to be what 8-4 is now with these schedules. Like you got to taper expectations, I guess, kind of in that kind of strength of schedule wise now.
Yeah. Agreed. Yeah, perceptions are gonna change especially with just the amount of change that's gonna happen in 2024. with college football as a whole, people's kind of are going to have to bring down their expectations for win totals for sure. Okay, Missouri. So they have at Alabama, Arkansas, Auburn, at Mississippi State, Oklahoma, at South Carolina, at Texas A&M, and Vanderbilt. That's hard for
Do we
Missouri.
really have to talk about this team?
I don't think so. I think they might win one.
They don't.
They'll beat
they-
Vanderbilt and then they'll lose to the rest of them. I don't think much
No,
needs to be
I
said.
bet they'll pull an upset. Or they'll be like Oklahoma. Oklahoma with maybe getting some steam, and then they'll take down Oklahoma at home.
That would be
Maybe.
hilarious. Oh man, that would be great. Yeah, Missouri. I mean, I don't give a shit about Missouri, man. They
No.
suck. Drinkwitz is a joke. They don't belong in the SEC. Well, I guess now they kind of do belong in the SEC with
They're
Oklahoma and
still kind
Texas
of the
coming
most
in.
irrelevant team in the conference. I mean, Vandy has more relevancy in people's minds than Missouri.
Yeah.
I'm not. I mean, I was about to say I'm not trying to shit on Mizzou, but I'm totally.
I am trying to shit on Mizzou.
Like I don't hate them. It's just like you just kind of exist out there and float around in this outer universe that sometimes you dive down into everyone's minds occasionally.
Yeah. Moving on because no one cares. Oklahoma. They have Alabama, at Auburn, at LSU, at Missouri, at Ole Miss, South Carolina, Tennessee, and then obviously the Red River, which is in the Cotton Bowl in Dallas against Texas.
Welcome to the SEC, Oklahoma.
Yeah. They
This
probably
isn't pretty.
of the two, theirs is definitely brutal.
I think Texas paid some people under the table to give them their schedule and make sure Oklahoma got this schedule.
I mean, your only weak point is Missouri, and
it's away.
it's away, and then after that, Ole Miss and Auburn, I guess, and South Carolina, you can kind of lump together, and those are not easy games by any stretch of the imagination. Alabama, it's a very, very rude awakening. All I can say is I hope that we get Oklahoma later in the year when they've just been beat the hell down, so it's an easy game.
Yeah. I'm thinking they're like Florida, like how I was saying, if they don't get it together going into the next year, like if Venables and Co. is still not, if we're still floating around non-bowl eligibility or 6-6 coming into this schedule and losing Dylan Gabriel, it could be a fun time for them or a really tough adjustment period.
I will say the freshman quarterback that Oklahoma has is like insanely good.
Yeah, but playing this schedule as a true freshman is going to be.
Well, he would be a redshirt freshman, but no, you're right. It'd be incredibly difficult. There are some cool storylines with this schedule, though. Obviously, Josh Heupel going
back
in Norman. And then there's a lot of history between Alabama and Oklahoma in the postseason. I'm trying to think what else there's in the. Oh, and then obviously with Beamer going back, he came from Oklahoma to South Carolina. So there's some cool storylines in this schedule. So
is General Booty at Oklahoma?
I think he changed to tight end.
He changed to tight end?
I think so. Unless that was that was a April Fool's Day post. Yeah, that's what that was.
I'm Googling General Booty real quick.
I think he must be a quarterback then still.
Yeah, he's a quarter. He's still listed at quarterback. General Booty.
What name?
He's a sophomore this year, so we might get a junior General Booty junior year.
That'd be nice. It's going to be Jackson Arnold though. So Jackson Arnold is a name that SEC fans should familiarize themselves with because I promise you, people will be, even if Oklahoma's not any good, that kid will be. He's very good. But yeah, so it's a brutal schedule. It's going to be very hard for Oklahoma to be competitive, even if they are good. I mean, you're bound to drop a couple of those games. But moving on, South Carolina. So they are at Alabama. That's a really cool matchup. At Kentucky, you got LSU, Ole Miss, Missouri, at Oklahoma, Texas A&M, and then at Vanderbilt. Honestly, that's I think they can be really competitive with this schedule.
Yeah, my first instinct isn't one of like, oh shit, this is a tough schedule. Obviously Alabama is never fun to play. At Oklahoma, like we just talked about with that storyline, will be an interesting matchup. That's another weird one. South Carolina in Norman is kind of never really thought that would happen. Any schedule where you get Vandy is great.
Yeah, this schedule is honestly very similar to Auburn's.
Yeah, for sure.
Pop out LSU and Arkansas, and then who else do we play? Yeah, but you know what I'm saying. Ole Miss, we don't play Ole Miss, but
Yeah,
it's one of the easier ones, I think. You don't have to play Georgia. Hardest game is obviously at Alabama, but the rest of that you can win a lot of games, I think, with the way they're trending as well.
for sure. I agree with that.
What's your thoughts, Matt?
It's just a middle of the pack schedule, perfect for them, especially if they're doing building blocks, like you said, if they keep building what they're going with. But honestly, I think the weirdest game, I don't know, South Carolina no, they have LSU at home. I don't remember the last time they played LSU at home.
2020. Oh well, at home it's 2008.
Yeah, I was about to say
I heard them talking about that on SEC Network.
that'll be a fun game. I
Yeah,
feel like that'll be rowdy.
yeah, that's definitely. Yeah, they have some fun games on there. That's a very entertaining schedule for South Carolina fans. Okay, Tennessee. So obviously you have the Alabama game. That was never not going to happen. At Arkansas, Florida. Obviously, you're going to play Florida every year. At Georgia, Kentucky, Mississippi State, at Oklahoma, and at Vanderbilt. What do y'all think about this one? I'm kind of conflicted on this one.
Any schedule with Alabama and Georgia is tough.
Yeah.
We're very familiar with that. Your road games aren't bad at all. I mean, at Georgia is not fun, but Oklahoma, Vandy, and Arkansas are all very favorable matchups.
Yeah.
It's not bad. I mean, Alabama and Georgia, like I said, tough, but everything else, I mean, especially, they had a great season last year. We're gonna see how the Milton experience goes this year, but with the freshmen they have this year, I mean, there's no reason to think Tennessee can't really do some work on the schedule in 2024.
Yeah,
And you got to keep everyone.
yeah, they'll retain a bunch of people, and this is Tennessee. I think Tennessee will compete for the SEC in 2024 just with what they've brought in the last couple of years. And I like the schedule if I'm them.
Yeah, you get, like I was saying, you keep everyone. You get Alabama, Georgia, Florida, and Kentucky, and you get 3 of them at home. You get 3 or technically 4 rival games at home.
Yeah, yeah, a lot of tradition with
Tennessee. And Vandy, of course, but that just kind of exists.
That doesn't really count. It's not really a football game.
Okay, the other newcomer, Texas, at Arkansas, Florida, Georgia, Kentucky, Mississippi State, at Oklahoma. Obviously, like we said, that's in Dallas. At Texas A&M, awesome to see that rivalry game return, and then at Vanderbilt.
So, main storyline is obviously Texas at Texas A&M. That's going to be insane.
Yes.
Kyle Field is going to be on another level. I hope it's a night game. That would be really cool.
It'll be one of the best probably environments we'll see in our lifetimes, just because of how long it's been since they've played.
Yeah, yeah. I'm planning to go to this game, obviously, because I just I'm not one who likes to go to games where Auburn's not playing, but this is one where I'm like, this is so historic, and it just I have to go to it. You know what I mean? Like,
are you gonna wear a burnt orange, maroon, maybe maroon shirt, burnt orange pants?
My mother-in-law went to A&M, so if she caught me in Texas gear, I think I would get killed. So
I like
wear like a
or something.
you wear like a hat that just says like SEC on it.
yeah, I'm going to pull a Rob Lowe.
Yeah.
That's
But yeah, this schedule is, I mean, to see Texas play Florida and Georgia is just so weird to me, but it's so cool.
It's so weird. And like you said, if you are Oklahoma, you're wondering how the hell Texas got this schedule and you got what you got, because you got the short end of the stick certainly there.
I'm telling you, there's 100% something behind these schedules.
Yeah, there has to be.
I believe it.
Well,
maybe 2025 will be just horrible for Texas.
Yeah,
and Oklahoma will get some reprieve, but this is just, I mean, it's night and day if you put the two school schedules against each other. I mean,
yeah.
God.
I love it, though. I'm so happy. It's interesting to see the reactions of the Texas and Texas A&M fans to this game returning. Some are super happy about it, and then some are like, who cares? Like, we don't like them. We don't want to play. And that shocks me when I hear
Those are the A&M fans who are mad that they're joining the SEC. This gave them that like leg up over them, and
Yeah.
now they don't have that anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, because with how much money Texas has, it's just Texas A&M has a bunch too, but the seeing an SEC patch on a Texas jersey is just like
Yeah, it's
that
gonna be
brand
weird.
just skyrockets. It's crazy. But yeah, if I'm Texas, I'm happy. You get a bunch of cool games. It's a nice schedule. Okay,
This is what I was looking for before you move on. I was trying to make sure I was correct. Guess where Texas also plays in 2024?
where?
At Michigan.
Holy
Oh
shit.
shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
I knew it was them or Oklahoma. That's what I was trying to figure out when you were talking about South Carolina. And I was like, my browser's slow. But yeah, they're playing at Michigan in 2024. And it's early too. I think it's September 7th or something. So it'll be like a week 2 or week 3 game.
Oh shit.
Wow. So if imagine Texas goes in there and beats Michigan, imagine the hype once SEC play starts.
Oh yeah.
My God, dude.
Especially if that's
Especially if maybe Georgia's coming in or something too, like
Oh,
close.
yeah.
If they schedule like Michigan and then they have like a nobody game the next week and then Georgia comes in the next week.
Can you imagine the hype if it's fucking Arch Manning too, who goes up to the big
Yeah.
house and beats Michigan?
It'll be like so insufferable. Like I don't
Yeah.
even like Texas all that much. It'll be like you won't be able to watch any sport without them talking about Texas.
And then they'll lose to Arkansas like a week after that.
Yeah,
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 absolutely.
yeah. But dude, that's a crazy. Okay, let's do Texas A&M. So they have Arkansas at Auburn, at Florida, LSU, at Mississippi State, Missouri, at South Carolina, and Texas.
All right, so
Winners.
I'm gonna do something I usually never do, and I'm gonna say something nice about Texas A&M. I think this is a very favorable draw for them personally. I think that, I mean, all right, well, God, I wanted to shift and being negative immediately, but if this year's experiment in their offense somehow goes well, which I know it's not going to, but if they go into 2024 with any sort of positive momentum and the recruiting stays where it is, this is a very solid schedule for them. They could win a lot of games.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
I think there's a lot of ifs. If Bobby Petrino works and their offense is modernized and looks good, you have all those number one recruiting class. They're all going to be juniors
Mm-hmm.
in 2024. So if everything clicks for them, Texas A&M is going to be really good with a favorable schedule.
Oh. They also have Notre Dame coming in
Oh, dude, that is
August 31st. I think that's like that's like week
0.
1. Week 0 or week 1 they play
It's gonna be
Notre
week
Dame at
one.
home.
There's
Yeah,
no way
week
they'd
one.
put that at a week 0, and that game is in College Station.
Yeah.
Dude,
Oh,
if you're an
that is
A&M
beautiful.
fan, Notre Dame and Texas at home is like shit of
amazing.
dreams.
That's
Dude,
crazy.
just thinking about those gold helmets in Kyle Field, is like,
Got to be a night game.
Yes.
oh, gotta be. Oh,
And because it's so early, there will still be so much hype because, if this was like halfway through the season in A&M, it'd shit the bed, which I'm not going to say they're going to because I'm being positive about A&M.
Both of them are kind of in the same boat. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
God.
awesome. Yeah, if I'm an A&M fan, I'm so happy. I'm buying season tickets because you're thinking like this is going to be a good year.
Yep, go ahead, get your paychecks in and take a little bit of extra out, put in your savings every couple weeks, and you'll be thankful for it in 2024.
Okay, question before we do Vandy last. How expensive do y'all think that A&M Texas ticket is going to be? Like absurd.
It's going to be a game where if you want to go, you're going to have to know someone
Yeah.
who gets tickets because getting them on StubHub, you'll be just fucked.
Awesome. You'll be paying $2,000, $3,000 for nosebleeds. Like it's going to be deservedly so, but it's going to be crazy.
So since Texas drew Georgia, Texas will host Georgia in an SEC game before A&M has, after already being in the conference since 2012.
That's
Georgia's
crazy.
never played at Kyle Field.
No.
And that's like a testament too for how the schedules needed to be changed because that's messed up.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think the logic is
Oh,
people
here, yeah. And
you're going to get
overall, A&M's only played Georgia once. So at the end of 2024, Texas will have played Georgia just as many times as A&M's played Georgia.
Mhm. Well, hopefully the goal with this realignment is that you're going to get to play at the players and fans will get to go to each stadium in a 4-year span. I hope they try to do that because I think that's necessary, but we'll see. Okay, Vanderbilt. Who cares? But I'll list them. Alabama, at Auburn, at Kentucky, at LSU, at Missouri, South Carolina, Texas, Tennessee. Um, they might beat Missouri and they're going to lose the rest of them. That's what I have to say.
Yeah.
I think they're in a good spot with Lee. I
Yeah,
think
for
it'll
sure.
be a better program, but just the way everything's moving, it's going to be near to impossible to get this to like making a bowl game for Vanderbilt now should be like considered national championship level for like other in relations to other programs. Like
Yeah,
6 games, a bowl game for Vanderbilt in this new era should be insane.
yeah,
I wouldn't hold your breath on that one.
yeah. They are going to be if you think they've been bottom feeders before, just wait. It's like imagine just wait until there's a year where they have to play Alabama, Auburn, LSU, Oklahoma, and Texas in the same year.
And
Like
Tennessee, if
Tennessee, yeah, it's not good. I mean, they're not.
they
If
better have.
if you're a Vanderbilt fan, why? Also, two, you're not going to have much to cheer for. So
Oh my God, their first game in 2024 is Virginia Tech
Virginia
in
Tech.
Nissan,
Oh well, at least it's in Nissan, but still.
and they play SMU at First Bank at home in Nashville.
SMU will win that game. But
They need
yeah,
to be
it's
scheduling
rough.
a lot
It's
worse
rough. They need
teams.
to be relegated to like the Sun Belt.
Yeah. Put your seatbelt on and hope your airbags are functional if you're a Vandy fan, because it's not looking good at all.
All right.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's bad. Okay, so we'll wrap this up with the schedule and then move on. But I want y'all to the one game of the entire schedule that you are the most looking forward to.
Can
Doesn't
we
even have to be Auburn.
can we all just agree that we're not allowed to pick Texas A&M?
Yes.
oh, that's tough.
Oh, God.
I'm gonna have to.
Rod,
pull
you
it.
seem prepared. You go first.
You already mentioned it, but Florida at Texas. I just think that's a really cool matchup. Um, I personally don't think Florida is going to be as bad the next couple years as people think. I think they'll figure out some way to make it. They're Florida, they'll bounce back some way. Um,
Uh,
but I just think that's a really cool matchup.
Florida's
Yeah,
the
the
most
uniform matchup too is
Awesome.
amazing.
Yeah.
I'm
coming
gonna
back.
throw a weird one out, but I'm really excited for it. South Carolina at Oklahoma.
Yeah.
I think that's gonna be. You got South Carolina, who's on the up and up, and Oklahoma, who are kind of treading water. Who knows when in the year that'll be? If it's early on, there'll probably be some pretty solid hype around that, like with Beamer returning. So that's what I'm looking for. I like South Carolina. I kind of sneaky like ride for South Carolina.
Yeah.
I'm going. I guess just obviously Bama, Georgia.
Yeah.
That's gonna be hype.
Everybody knew that was coming though. Like they were obviously going to do it, but it's going to be, yeah, they'll both be in the top 5. And
But for the weird game, I guess, like if I couldn't pick one of the upper games, it would probably be Ole Miss going to the Swamp.
Yeah, that's gonna be a fun one.
Overrated program, but top tier stadium.
I'll say I have one other one that there's really two that are non-Auburn games that stick out to me, other than the ones y'all have mentioned. Tennessee at Oklahoma is the other one that I think
Yeah,
will be a great game.
that'll be good. Look at us not picking Auburn for anything. I'm so
Well,
proud of us.
obviously we're all our number one is obviously Oklahoma at Auburn, but
Yeah.
I was about to say, plus with our schedule, it's not like we don't have anything super crazy outside of that.
yeah, that's true. It's all kind of familiar or a shitty game.
Yeah,
But okay,
Kentucky.
yeah, really fun and exciting times for the SEC. I guess we'll do this again we inevitably add Florida State and Clemson in like 5 years. So
Yeah.
okay.
They become
So,
when college football becomes the AFC and the NFC with the big
yeah,
SEC.
it's bound to happen eventually. Okay, so other college sports. Matt, you had this down. This UConn quarterback. Tell us about this.
Yes. So UConn he's a 3-star on 247 and on 3, but ESPN has him ranked as a 4-star. But he's the highest recruit in the Jim Mora era. Cole Welliver. He's 6'6", and he is the 9th best recruit in their program's history. So after they had their year last year, which was crazy to see for UConn, and possibility with all the Big 12 stuff going on, you just got your 9th best recruit ever, one of your best QB recruits ever, if not could be the best. So after you already had another QB in the class before, it's looking good for the Huskies to keep building a little bit up there.
Yeah. Yeah. When the news came out that the rumblings of UConn making that move, everybody said,
He's
what?
6'7", 210. Holy.
Yeah. So we'll see. Obviously, the basketball in the Big 12 is going to be crazy, but then
From Texas too. So a big thing of him coming to UConn was apparently the Big 12 stuff that's been lingering around was in the talks of him while he was committing.
yeah, well, we'll see that if they could be competitive, and that league's obviously getting weaker, so you never know what could happen.
I don't think they'll be that competitive, but he gets, if they do go to the Big 12, he'll get to play like at places around his home and everything, and he'll definitely start.
Yeah, it would definitely be cool.
But yeah, good win for a program trying to get on the rise. So fun to
Yeah,
see.
all I will say is he is most definitely a 3-star because ESPN's recruiting rankings are garbage.
Yeah, but we're trying to help UConn out here by
Speak
using
for yourself.
Always pick the recruiting site that has the highest ranking for your recruit.
That's fair.
But yeah, ESPN's recruiting is, I probably would create better recruiting rankings than ESPN could ever think about anymore. Their stuff is terrible.
You know, the video that guy does of like the corgi hitting the basketball into like trash cans. They could probably have a better recruiting ranking doing that than whatever
like
recruiting experts they have. Yeah, exactly.
Okay. In other recruiting news, there's this Ole Miss quarterback commit. He actually flipped from Florida, but what is he, like 15 years old or something like that?
He's class of 2025.
Yeah.
They claim he has a 5.34 GPA, which I need someone to explain to me how the hell that works. And I think he's homeschooled too.
He is.
So you're like asking your mom to
heard.
give you an A so you can. How do you get a 5.34?
Yeah.
What happened?
There's a little bit of
like college classes or something. Maybe like AP, like all AP classes or something.
Still, but how do you get a 5? What happened to just?
I didn't even know that was possible. I thought like 4.3 was like the highest or something like that. I didn't even know.
I think there's some sketchiness around this. I'm not.
And like reclassifying 2 years early, this kid's not going to play. He's not going to play. What does he expect to do?
They have a lot of building to do on his body.
Yeah. Yeah. This kid won't be playing until like 2026 or something like that.
But how many red shirts can the kid take?
That's a great question.
I bet Florida fans are probably like, hey, we got a homeschooled kid. Probably weird, Remember the last time we had one of those? They were like, and then I can't believe they lost to commit to Ole Miss, though. That blows my mind. Sunbelt Billy.
I saw some stuff about how Florida fans were like really excited for that kid.
Yeah, and then he decommits
immediately. That was pretty funny. But yeah, it's just not something I've heard about before. Very interesting. I don't know why if you're that smart, you're going to Ole Miss. But
that is also
one of the worst academic schools in the SEC.
No offense to our great friend Duffy, but
I just can't get past the 5.34. That just doesn't make any sense. It seems made up.
How do you get a 5.0 GPA?
I'm Googling right now.
Students in an AP class with weighted grading receive a 5-point weighted average for each of the 4-letter grades.
Oh.
As a
So
result, a student
unweighted,
who
it's
takes
more
only AP classes and receives A's will have a 5.0.
Ah.
So how did he get the freaking 3.4?
That
So he
seems like
gets all
such a
AP.
like arbitrary value too. Like 3.4, like that means he wasn't perfect. Like he didn't get all. I don't know. It's all bullshit. It's all made up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's just
I mean, hell, I had like almost a 4 GPA in high school. I don't know how that happened, but
yeah.
that just tells you how high school is.
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't really mean anything,
I had
but
like a 3.98.
yeah, same. We're just all geniuses in here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so our other news,
My king.
I don't even
Take
yeah,
this.
he's
Let's just
absolutely
say
fine.
this next segment, he was not a good teammate.
So the king, Bob Huggins, who, let's just put it like, he has not been doing well in the public eye as of late. He had an incident on a radio show, which we will definitely not go into.
No, we're not talking about that.
And he got his
People who've gotten
salary
the most
decreased. He was kind of,
got the most trouble around that situation were people who talked about that situation. It wasn't even him.
yeah. So he had a situation which he got his salary decreased and he's under a tighter eye at West Virginia. Some people thought that he was going to get fired. They decided to keep him on. And then he was arrested. Was it Saturday morning? No, it was Friday
Friday
night.
night.
It was Friday night at 8:30 p.m. when he was the cops pulled him over. He had a .21 BAC. He blew in the breathalyzer. He had a shredded tire. His car was blocking traffic. And when they talked to him, he was pulled over in Pittsburgh. And when they talked to him, he thought he was in Columbus, Ohio. As someone who has spent some time in Columbus, Ohio, I can assure you it is nothing similar to Pittsburgh. It's also worth mentioning he had a bag full of his empty road sodas on the floor of the passenger seat. He also had been blacked out since 1:30 p.m. It sounds like, because the last thing he remembers was being at a Burger King.
Oh my God.
So let's get out in front and say that we definitely do not support drinking and driving on this podcast.
Disavow entirely.
It's not the situation's not funny because it sucks like losing a legend like this, but the whole thing that just I couldn't not laugh at was saying that he thinks he's in Columbus, Ohio.
Yeah.
I thought that was the funniest shit.
To me, I think the Burger King thing makes it even better.
Wasn't there somebody said didn't he have
What if
like
he was wearing the crown, the little Burger King crown when they pulled him?
yeah, usually when you wear that crown things don't go well, so let's avoid that. Wasn't there something that said he had like recently had knee surgery and couldn't remember what knee that he had?
Yes.
Look, Bob Huggins, obviously he's probably been under a lot of stress with his recent radio appearances. So I think things just compounded, and it is a sad situation because he's like a Hall of Fame basketball coach, and it's sad, but just like it's not like you said, it's not funny, but like the sequence of events and just the circumstances of the things he told him is just kind of funny, to be honest.
Yeah,
wish
if
him
you're so
well.
drunk that you've been blacked out for 7 hours, you're still what, 3 times the legal limit. You don't, I guess, I wonder if he like knew his tire was shredded or what. I mean, dude.
I bet he like ran over a curb or something and popped it.
Yeah, I mean, probably most likely, yes. Considering how shit-faced he was. But I mean, what do you like? You get out of your car and call AAA or something in that situation? Like,
Yeah, I mean, it's probably better than how the rest of the situation ended up. I just want to know why he was going to Columbus.
Yeah, what was going on?
What was in Columbus?
if I was like, yeah, I would never think I was in Columbus, Ohio if I thought I was somewhere else. That's the last place that I would claim to be.
what do y'all think that hangover was like the next day? Yesterday.
Dude, he was in hell.
Poor guy. We
I,
wish
I
him
didn't
well.
even,
I'm sure he'll
I
be
didn't
fine.
know that. That's why he got fired from Cincinnati in like 2004 was because of a DUI.
Really?
Coach there, yeah, I didn't know that until after all this came out.
What do you guys think he ordered from Burger King?
Like 30 chicken fries.
I was thinking chicken fries too.
I think he ordered the red Miles the Into the Spider-Verse. I'm going on.
Definitely was in the Spider Verse about an hour later.
He
Yeah.
was certainly not in our universe.
Yeah, that's where the Spider-Verse is. It's in Columbus, Ohio. Okay.
Driving, talking to Miles Morales. Who are you talking to, Bob? Oh, Miles Morales.
The
Oh,
the empty road sodas on the passenger seat floor is just a bold move.
yeah, that's wild. But, you know, who knows? Who knows what was going through his mind?
Columbus.
Yeah, Columbus.
Maybe he was trying to get to see if Urban Meyer was up. Wanted to hang out.
Imagine that combination.
He's like, no, he got a text. Urban was like, yo, Sark just came over. You want to come over and hang out?
That trio, legendary.
That's a dangerous Knights crew for sure. Sark, Urban Meyer, and Bob Huggins. I saw something though where it said like 8 players are already ready to leave.
This is gonna set their program back so far. I mean,
Yeah,
transfer portal's nice to have, but they're gonna lose probably like most people that mean something, and probably recruits as well.
yeah, yeah. It's not. If you're a West Virginia sports fan, it's a tough time right now. Is their
If you're
football team is
Who do you go
horrible?
after this late? Like
Yeah,
you
you
kind of
just
middle of the
promote
decent.
an
summer.
assistant. You just promote an assistant and ride out the year.
NATO
Also,
is still
if
West Virginia.
you're a West Virginia sports fan in general, your life is already hell. So
Yeah.
You're like, oh yay, football season! I can't wait to watch Neil Brown after our Hall of Fame coach just signed.
Oh man. Okay. Let's leave Bob Huggins to
the
let's leave him
the,
alone.
the moral of the story is don't drink and drive, call an Uber, and don't live in West Virginia.
And Chris Beard to West Virginia 2025 or 2024.
Okay. NFL. Nick.
You
What's going
guys,
Yo, what's
everyone loves
going
to hate.
on Diggs? What's happening?
Everyone loves to hate. There's nothing going on. There's no problems. Stefon Diggs and Josh Allen are best friends. Everyone is just manufacturing drama. It's the off season. People just want something to talk about. People need clicks to drive their bank accounts. They need articles read. They need news to talk about. It's all bullshit. Stefon Diggs will start week 1 for Buffalo. He'll probably catch like 3 touchdowns. You know what? If you want all this drama, I'll just take him in fantasy before y'all. I'll get him late, and it won't matter.
I don't think the drama's manufactured, but I think it's overplayed. He's gonna play, like you said, every offseason stuff like this happens. But I don't think the drama's between him and any of his teammates or McDermott. I think it's y'all's OC, Mr. Douchebag himself. I think that's the problem is he needs to get the ball in important situations more rather than just running the same shit. I don't know. Your OC's a douche. I think that's the problem.
You can't play
Okay, but
quarterback for the you and not be a douche though.
that clip of him like destroying the press box after the first Dolphins game last year was really cool. Like that was so funny.
I like him, but obviously I can understand why Diggs is upset with him when you go from a Brian Dable offense to Dorsey. Like Dable's obviously thriving with the Giants. Like Dable really is someone you could credit for Josh Allen's leap. So I mean, you're going from someone who's obviously established himself as a great NFL head coach after year 1 in New York. You have a step down. He definitely didn't get the ball as much as he should have last year. And he's a diva wide receiver. All really good wide receivers typically are divas. They want the ball. They want to get the way they get paid is by making big catches and racking up yards. So I understand why he's frustrated. I think it's overblown. and things will be fine. It's just
I guess people don't remember Minnesota either. I mean,
That's what I was going to say.
but it's not the same situation. He's not leaving. I mean, he just signed that huge contract extension and everything. That the him not playing and all that stuff's overblown, but the drama's definitely there somewhere within the field house.
Yeah, it's certainly not out of character for Stefon Diggs. He does this a lot. It was just kind of, I think people are making it out to be more than it is because of how that picture of him and Josh Allen on the sideline during the
I love that photo.
game. Yeah. So they're just kind of piling different things on top of each other to make drama into something that's really not a big deal. He'll show up, he'll play, it'll be fine.
Yeah. The Bills, let me just defend Buffalo, have been getting so much shit this offseason. Josh Allen gets a ton of hate. I understand he kind of acted like a bitch several times last season, so like he brought it on himself, but he definitely Matt, fuck off. The Bills are hated on
next to this one, the regular season Super Bowl champions banner.
All right, well, at least our quarterback can do basic mathematics without having someone tell him how to count. But to stop hating on the Bills. Stop.
Stop. Brought up the Stefon Diggs thing, and I couldn't not show it.
Yeah, they'll be fine. Josh Allen's got to stop throwing picks, and Stefon Diggs has got to get the ball more. That's really the solution. But okay, another news, very funny one. Jack Jones, Patriots. I think he was a rookie last year. Very good rookie corner. Was arrested at the airport in Boston with 2 handguns. The funny thing about this is not him getting arrested. It's that like 2 weeks ago he tweeted at Ja Morant telling him to stop like going around with guns and to like act his age and be an adult. And then this happens. Just hilarious.
Dude, I don't know why anyone brings guns to the airport. Dude, I'm worried that like my electric toothbrush with like a battery is gonna get flagged and TSA is gonna pull me aside and be like, what the hell is this? Is this a weapon? Like,
dude, I think I asked my wife every time we travel, can I take my electric razor in my like carry-on bag? Because I'm like, I don't know. But yeah,
Bill Belichick's just trying to get his locker room under control.
Yeah, Patriots, it's just falling apart. This may convince DeAndre Hopkins not to sign with them, which he visited there. He's on his vacation. But yeah, it's just hilarious. If you're telling other people to stop going around with guns, you should probably not have guns. You should probably not be taking your guns out of your house yourself. So that's a good lesson. Leave your guns at home. Okay. And then one of y'all put this, Carson Wentz has been practicing with John Gruden.
Yeah, so Wentz is determined to play this season. He's determined to come back. So who has he enlisted to get him back on track besides the quarterback guru, man of no
not
misbehavior or any bad past, John Gruden, the king. Really just an iconic duo, Wentz and Gruden, to make it to stage an NFL comeback. I just thought this was hilarious when I saw that.
2 guys that everybody loves.
Yes.
Yeah. I can never get enough Carson Wentz.
What do you think they talk about?
They probably email each other. They probably don't talk.
There's probably some controversial things in those emails.
I don't know. What do you talk? What do Carson Wentz and John Gruden talk about?
I feel like there's 2 most like opposite personalities between those 2 guys.
They're probably both just like, we've been so like, the NFL's taking advantage of us. We don't deserve this shit. Like, I can see them like sitting at a bar together, just getting hammered, being like, we're victims.
They're like 14 beers deep. We're gonna get back one day, buddy. Don't worry about it.
Bob Huggins is hanging out with them as well.
Hold on, our Uber's gonna be here in 10 minutes. Wait, hold on. He's going the other way. He's getting on the highway. He's going towards Columbus.
Headed to Columbus. Oh yeah, it's such an odd pairing, but we'll see if it works out for him.
Sorry,
okay,
Bob.
Let's talk about the NBA, and I actually have some breaking news for you guys.
No way! You're gonna tell me something about the NBA?
Yes.
I'm so ecstatic.
All-star guard Bradley Beal
Who
has
did he
been
get traded?
traded. Where do y'all think he was traded to?
Miami.
The Phoenix Suns are trading Bradley Beal to the Suns for Chris Paul, Landry Shamet, multiple second-round picks.
Chris Paul's going to Washington.
They're gonna cut him.
Wizards got absolutely fleeced. This is ridiculous.
I love it. That's great. Yeah, Chris might as well just retire, dude. If you're gonna
Dude,
have to.
I'm trying to think about how to phrase this. I hate Chris Paul. Chris Paul is the biggest fraud ever. He has never won anything in his entire career. He is a dirty player. I hope he goes to DC and just his career just fades away
Gets to be
silently.
best friends with Kyle Kuzma. Sounds electric.
I mean, they'll probably buy him out,
Yeah.
and I think we all know where he's going to end up. He's going to go to the Lakers, and that is going to be even more so.
If that fails, if he gets to get paired with LeBron and fails, like he should be just banned from any NBA event or anything related to the NBA for the rest of his life.
That's my
fails with
prediction.
LeBron and AD.
It's a full circle moment too, because it would complete the vetoed trade.
Yeah.
Traded to the Lakers. So I expect, buyout for Chris Paul, and then he'll go to the Lakers. But yeah, Bradley Beal on the Suns, that Devin Booker and Bradley Beal and Kevin Durant, that's pretty
AD's
crazy.
trying to build an off-brand Splash Brothers for himself to try to get another ring.
That's
They'll just get eliminated in the second round again, and it's all going to be whatever.
Yep. Yeah, it's interesting, but yeah. Speaking of Western Conference, Denver officially won the NBA title. I think we all saw it coming. Jokic is just the best player in the NBA, and the way his reaction to winning has just been so funny. He just acted like he didn't care. And then did y'all see the clip of him at the parade where he's like, "Yeah, I know I said I wanted to go home, but I fucking love it. I love the parade."
Yeah. I saw a tweet making a parallel to the situation. It's like when you have to convince like one friend to go out to the bar with you who doesn't want to go. He's like, "No, man, let's not go. Let's just stay in tonight." And then you get there and you're ready to leave, but he's like the one who's holding you up and is like, "No, man, we can't go home yet."
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. He's just a funny guy. Like you can tell he just does not give a shit about basketball.
I saw a lot of people who were like just reading tweets. They were like, "Is this like I don't care gimmick getting old?" Like I was like, you got to realize just because someone's really good at basketball doesn't mean like they necessarily love. Like this is literally his job, basically. Like just because he doesn't love the game as much as someone else, which I find it funny because it makes so many people mad.
Yeah.
But I think it's awesome. He's like, "All right, can I go back to my horse now?"
Yeah.
I want to go see
a question for y'all. How many like 4% or 4.2% light beers do you think it takes to get Jokic drunk?
like a 24 to 30. Probably Bob Huggins level.
I think at least 15.
Yeah, I'm thinking like 15 or 16 before he's really just hammered.
Yeah, 100%. So I can't imagine how much he drank in the last like week.
Oh yeah, God.
Them out.
It was hilarious seeing him hold like a 12-ounce Michelob in his hand. It was just tiny.
Yeah. It's mint, like it looks like the mini like Coke cans if you see them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So he's fun. Now he's just gonna go ride horses in Serbia for the next 6 months and then come back and win MVP again. So good for the Nuggets. It was funny. They were like shitting on the Lakers half the time during their parade, which is hilarious. Just making fun of LeBron.
I didn't even realize like until 2 days after that quote that LeBron had was like aimed at the Nuggets. I just breezed over it reading it the first time, and then I read it the second time. I was like, bro, LeBron is so like the Nuggets got in his head so bad. he's like,
talking about the Instagram post.
Yeah,
I'm gonna read it.
They're living in his head so bad right now.
He goes,
can't take it.
In Europe for the last the past few weeks minding my business, and I hear I'm on your mind that much, huh? I mean, I guess I see why, but wave the flag on these lames. Please make being a player cool again, because the lame machine is at an all-time high.
What does make being a player cool again mean?
Enjoy your light, but just know that I'm the sun. I stay on forever. He just I don't know. He just needs to not he made it all about himself when he came out and fake was lying about retiring because everybody knew he wasn't going to retire. And then the Nuggets justifiably shot back after the media just talked about the Lakers after they swept them.
Yeah, they literally
Lon's mad at it. He's just not a good sport.
No,
Dude.
he doesn't like losing.
If you thought Coach K's retirement was bad, LeBron's is going to be 10 times worse because he's going to do the exact same thing where he announces that he's retiring at the end of the year. And every time he plays in an away stadium for the last time, it's going to be like the most brutal celebration. And like, oh my God, it's going to be bad.
I was talking with one of our friends. Y'all know who it is. We love him though. But I was saying, dude, you could not have thought that LeBron was actually going to retire. And he was like, well, you don't know what you're thinking, what he's thinking. I'm like, yes, I do. When LeBron retires, he will announce it 6 months before the season starts, and there will be a 45-minute presentation at every arena for him before the game. And it's just the coverage for that year is just going to be unbearable. You'll hear about it for 3 years afterwards too. But yeah, funny that he's that mad about it. Just enjoy your vacation, man. It's not that deep.
If you're going to retire like Jay Wright, where you just finish coaching the year and then just silently
like,
go off.
I'm gone. And everyone's like, what the fuck?
Yeah. I don't know. Good for the Nuggets, though, LeBron. Just chill out. Okay. Last but not least, we've been waiting on this one for a while. Ja Morant officially suspended 25 games. I think he's getting off way easy. I thought it would be at least 30, 35.
If there was no such thing as the play-in, I think this would be significant. But with the play-in being a thing, this is an absolute joke of a suspension. Because they're still they're going to make the playoffs out of it.
They'll be fine. The Grizzlies are going to be just fine. I saw someone say it's more of a punishment that he has to play like the rest of the regular season games. But I mean, look, I get it. You can't show a gun on Instagram Live, whatever. You're breaking the league's rules. He didn't break any laws.
But
he posted a picture of like a lighter gun or whatever to show his family that it was a lighter, which is just dumb, Ja.
Why do you need a lighter gun? Just buy a lighter. That just seems like you're asking for trouble with that.
I don't know. I mean, 25 games, whatever. I was expecting more personally. I'm glad it's only 25. I don't think you should railroad a team's whole season just because one player made some mistakes.
Yeah,
it's clear that he needs to just be more mature about some of the things he does and posts on social media. Obviously, the most recent one wasn't something that he chose to put out there, you know, but you gotta be if you're like, you know, someone who's in such the eye of the media, you got to be cognizant of every single thing that a camera can put out there that has you in it. So
don't forget him assaulting a teenager.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, not just all the other stuff. That too.
I thought it should have been 35. And then the big thing is they said in terms of like contracts, how his contract's going to work out, he could lose up to $50 million.
Jeez.
Which is a lot of money, but
financially he's fine because Nike is not dropping him.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. Nike dropped some other people for other reasons, but yeah, it's kind of shocking.
If Nike dropped him, someone else would have just picked him up.
Yeah, that's true. So they're probably like,
we're going to lose a shit ton of money if Adidas gets him.
Well, yeah, and his signature shoe like just came out, so yeah, they can't afford to drop him. But yeah, it's interesting. I hope he gets his act together because I before all this happened, I really liked him and he was so fun to watch.
I still like him. I
still do too, but it's just like
I like him. It just sucks when someone's being an idiot when you know how good they can be.
Yeah, I mean, you can't you got to think about the where he is at mentally for a kid as young, I guess we're kind of the same age, but someone that young to have that much money, and you really, the world is your oyster. You can do literally whatever you want, and who's there telling him to make better decisions? He's just got to figure it out. And you learn the best from your mistakes. So he certainly has two big ones where he can hopefully realize what he needs to do going forward, because like both of y'all said, he's one of the most dynamic guards in the league, insanely athletic, and one of the more entertaining dunkers that we've seen, in-game dunkers that we've seen in a long time. So
he has the talent and the ability to be the best player in the NBA. He's just got to mentally get right and just focus on basketball. Just get to where you're not around certain people and doing certain things, and he'll be fine. They just got to help him figure out, where he's at in his life.
And develop the 3-point jumper a little bit maybe in this time off, and you'll be
that might be the most important thing. Okay, another championship in the NHL. The Golden Knights officially won the Stanley Cup. They beat the hell out of Florida in the last game.
It was such a it just, the playoffs were great, but them making it to the finals kind of sucked in retrospect. Looking at it with this, I mean, it wasn't even close, and their one win was overtime. When Kachuk wasn't going to play for sure, they when he was going to play, they were going to lose in Vegas. But when they called him out, I knew it was going to be a bloodbath.
Yeah, I mean, we basically declared them dead in the last episode. I know the championship was a long time ago, it feels like now, but yeah, I mean, good for Vegas, I guess. Expansion team, whatever. We touched on this, but if you're Florida, you're happy you got there. The circumstances to get there were definitely not in your favor. You had to defeat some shitty team in Boston to get there, and
bro, if we could have just made it past that game, we would have been there. It would have been a hell of a series.
Yeah, not much to say. Overall, the playoffs are very entertaining. I know we've gone into great lengths at how the NHL's kind of been opened up to me and you, Rod. So I'm excited to really dive in at the start of next season and hopefully follow it all the way throughout and kind of get a better understanding for some more of the players in the league and who are the bigger names to know, and kind of get into that. So I think if the playoffs open the eyes to more fans to get more viewers, it was a successful venture for the league as a whole. So
I was so pissed after. I mean, I didn't want Florida to win, but Vegas won. I didn't want either team to win, but after they won, the stadium was a little bit rowdy, but outside they were showing the things, and there were even people talking about it that were there. There's people who are only there that live in Vegas because it's in Vegas, so it's something to do, like a social event. It's like majority of those people do not care about hockey at all. The celebration was so bad, just absolutely mid. It just looked like there was an event going on, and everyone was like, "All right, time to leave. Cool, we won the Stanley Cup."
It reminds me of
any other city, it would have been mayhem.
It reminds me of when LA teams win stuff in football. It's just no one actually cares.
Okay, cool. But yeah, that bothered me. I was watching the trophy celebration, and I was just I really want to turn this off, but I can't. But I was these people, majority of these people do not care.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the only bad part, but they're damn good at hockey. So
yeah. Well, I think they saw they did their parade on a Saturday, which is cool, in Vegas too. So, it was probably a good time, but Vegas is so hit or miss. It's very commercialized and people are there. I mean, I would honestly probably rather be in a casino than in a hockey arena if I'm just being real. So, good for Vegas.
Matt, do you have trivia for us today?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I do. All right. So, college football related, of course. What 3 universities have the most conference championships?
Ohio State.
No.
Wait, can you repeat the question? I just totally zoned out for a second.
He's trying to get a leg up on you, Rod. What 3 universities have the most conference championships?
In all sports?
In college football.
Oh, in college football?
Oklahoma.
That's 1.
That's what I was about to say, you fucking asshole.
They're number 1. The most with 50.
Alabama.
No. They're not even top 5.
All right, well, fuck you.
USC?
No.
You go, Nick. We'll go back and forth.
Back and forth? So you guessed USC, Oklahoma, and Ohio State. So forth. Michigan.
Yep.
Ooh, okay.
They're number 3.
It's my turn, right?
Yep.
I'm going to say Texas.
No.
Florida State.
No.
Ah,
Florida State was independent for a good amount of time back in the old days.
I'm going to say
Florida State's 36th.
yeah, I'm just way off there, I guess, huh?
Florida.
No. Yeah,
No.
Florida's 82nd in conference championships.
I'm
with
trying to look
8.
at the banner behind you, get some hints. Let's go with this is tough. Miami.
No.
Nebraska.
Yeah.
That
Let's
was such
go!
yeah, that
They're
was
second with 46.
I knew it.
Yeah, I mean, all the old days where them and Oklahoma basically just won their conference every single year for decades.
yeah.
And then obviously Michigan's just Michigan.
Yeah.
Well, it wouldn't be trivia without me losing to Rod, so
Yep. That's just a weekly tradition.
And
Okay.
then Tulsa's 6th with 35. I
Really?
found it interesting. Yeah.
Okay. So, closing thoughts. Matt, what do you have to say to take us out?
Pass. I'm not ready.
I got one.
Okay.
Say happy Father's Day to all the fathers listening. Both of your guys' dads are awesome guys who have been very generous to me and have been very great to know from the time that I've known them, and have had a bunch of fun nights with both those guys. So happy Father's Day to those, and as well as you guys. We're all dog dads here, so happy Father's Day to us. And yeah.
Yep. Happy Father's Day to all the dads out there. Big happy Father's Day to Hugh Freeze. It sounds like his son, Nick Saban, has given him a very good gift, potentially in a 5-star receiver. So shout out to Nick Saban, taking real good care of his dad.
Shout out to Rod's dog who won't be a father
Yeah, my dog got fixed.
after he
his little
got
donut
his.
Ponies.
Fixed
Yeah,
is such a weird term for getting your balls cut off.
Fixed. Yeah, you'd think it'd be the opposite.
yeah, it'd be like broken or something. I don't know.
This is gonna
That is-
this is
that
gonna
is the opposite
spiral
of
like
fixed.
crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, my poor dog.
I guess my final thought, decent. I'm just gonna shit on Florida. Sunbelt Billy, you lost that recruit to Ole Miss. That was disappointing. I know you've gotten some decent recruits, and you got the number 8 recruiting class so far right now, but Florida's always been able to recruit itself. You're out of your element. You're Florida's Brian Harsin. RIP Florida.
I agree. I would also like to make an adjustment to my comment. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there, except for Brian Harsin. I hope you had a shitty day.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, Brian Harsin, not sure what you're doing in that fatherhood role. There's some interesting stuff happening in Auburn
The Boise Barbies.
in terms of all that going on. So step your game up, Mr. Harsin. You don't even get called coach anymore. You don't deserve it. But yeah. Okay, Matt.
Probably spent his Father's Day in the gym taking selfies or phone up across his garage and putting
I'd
it
rather
on,
be in the gym
sprinting
than
back to the
my
bed.
home if I was Brian Harsin.
I wouldn't be able to deal with that if I was him. I guess I get it. He had a rough time in all areas when he was with us. So
Failed upward.
I hope he listens to this. But okay, Matt, take us out before we make any more inflammatory
You'll make
comments.
us run stadium steps with him if you're not careful. All right. Thank you guys for listening. Hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to give us 5 stars on Spotify or like and subscribe on YouTube if you are watching on there. Thank you all for listening. We have written content as well on southerndraw.substack.com and on all our socials, free content as well at Southern Draw Pod. Don't forget to follow us. Hope you'll have a great week. Thank you all for listening.